In the world of leadership, it's really common, and I'm sure that you've experienced, dealing with a direct rapport who is struggling to change. And you see them and you look at them and there's so much potential, but for whatever reason, they're unable to get to where they need to be in terms of their performance, in terms of hitting the goal, in terms of accomplishing whatever the marker of success is. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to deal with someone who is struggling to change. The number one thing that we need to do in this case is we need to get an understanding of their own desire for change. Do they want to change? Is it something that they legitimately want to do for themselves, for the organization, whatever? It doesn't even matter the motive. What matters is, do they want to do it? Now, when I ask this question, this is where we get tripped up. It's not about what this person says that they want to do. It's about what they're demonstrating that they want to do by way of their actions and their behavior. And so someone who really wants to change is going to take the actions and recommendations that you make. They're going to create incentive or have incentive to go out there and do something a little bit differently. They're going to be resourceful to want to find answers. They're at least going to have a set of questions and be mobilized to at least ask questions about what they can do differently. So your first step is to gauge their desire for change based on their free will, not yours. And I know what that's like. We want to see them succeed because we see the potential. But it's not enough for us to see the potential. They have to want it for themselves, and you're going to start number one by gauging that. If they do want to change and you see that they're taking action, that they're asking the right questions, that they're doing the things necessary to position them for success, now you've got someone that you can work with. Now we can give them an opportunity to learn, grow. You could put structures in place to begin that process. But what do you do when they continue to not make that effort? What do you do when, despite your best effort, nothing is happening, but you feel like they want to make it happen, they just don't know how? What you're going to do from that perspective is find the line between your responsibility and theirs. At some point, there is a line that reflects where your responsibility ends and their responsibility begins. When you're crossing that line, and you know that because you're doing more for their change than they are, when you begin to cross that line, that is when the dynamic starts to become toxic and negative. Because now you're imposing your desire on someone else's free will instead of stepping back and accepting the reality that, you know what, they don't want this and it's okay. So find that line that marks where your responsibility ends and their responsibility begins. Once you identify that, and if you're still not seeing any change, that's when you know that it's time to let go. You've done everything that you could do as a leader. And by the way, this applies not just to a direct report, right? It applies to family members that are struggling with things, friends that are struggling with things. It applies to addiction of all kinds. No matter what, we've got to work with what the person is willing to give us. We can never create or fabricate more, because that would mean that we have control over their free will, which we do not. So do not delude yourself into believing you have control over someone else's free will. You do not, I do not, we're not magicians. Accepting that, coming to terms with it, and learning to let go is a fundamental part of this process. And letting go when it comes to a direct rapport means you're now beginning the disciplinary process. It means you're now documenting things. It means that as the behavior doesn't change, I want to say you're exiting them from the organization, but that's not totally accurate. The reality is they're actually exiting themselves from the organization by way of their lack of willingness and desire to change. It's your responsibility as a leader to make sure that you're upfront, that you're clear, that you're honest about where they're at, so that by the time that time comes, if they do get terminated, they understand and know why it happened. It should never, ever be a surprise. So that last component, very, very important. You've got to accept when to let go. And when that happens, be okay with exiting the person from the organization, and know that it's actually a good thing because you're freeing them. You're preventing them from staying somewhere that they really don't want to be. You're preventing them from staying somewhere where they're never going to actualize their potential and they're never going to grow into the best version of themselves. You're giving them an opportunity to find that. It's better for the organization because why would we continue to keep a low performer who doesn't want to be there, who's negatively impacting our team and our numbers and our culture? So again, to bring it back, if you're dealing with someone who's struggling to change, first, you want to give them all of the opportunity in the world. Support, guide, and help them. If they're not responsive, then you've got to realize that it's not your responsibility, it's theirs, and you've got to honor their free will by supporting them to find the next opportunity that will help them grow and become a better version of themselves. Thanks so much for watching. If you found that valuable, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with someone else who might be able to benefit from the information. And last but not least, don't hesitate to visit me at JamelleLindo.com for access to free EQ resources helping you to become an emotionally empowered leader.